Alrighty, hello everybody. This is Joshua Wright coming to you live on Historically Black Sense with your King's Minute. This week we will be talking to the 2023 salutatorian and valedictorian from Morris Brown College. They are two distinct men of honor and they are actually non-traditional students. So we will be talking to Reverend Walter Lawson and Mr. Walter Jordan right here. Stay tuned on Historically Black Sense for more. All right, so as we know, this is the wrap up of graduation season at most HBCUs. So this week we wanted to talk to two distinguished gentlemen from Morris Brown College. They are recent 2023 graduates, and they are also the valedictorian and salutatorian of their class. And they also served as the senior class president and senior class vice president. These two non traditional students have made huge strides in success and continue to inspire others as they have departed from their alma mater. So I want to bring on with me today Mr. Walter Jordan, who is the 2023 salutatorian and senior class president for Morris Brown College, and Reverend Walter Lawson, who is the 2023 valedictorian and senior class vice president for Morris Brown College. How are you gentlemen doing today?
We're
Wonderful,
blessed.
wonderful.
Thank you
Glad
for
to be
having
here.
us.
All right. So first thing I wanted to ask you all, I am also a 2023 graduate of Rust College. So I just want to give congratulations to everybody who graduated this year. It was a long road getting here, but we made it. So the first thing I want to ask you all is, what were some of the things that kept you all motivated to continue as non-traditional students?
Go
Go
ahead,
ahead.
George.
Oh, yeah. So I think what motivated both of us was uh, a few things. Our families, we're both huge family men. So our families motivated us, our wives, our kids, uh, and most especially the fact that this was something we both wanted to do after being out of college some 30 plus years. We wanted this to set the standards of what non-traditional students look like, and we also wanted to set the bar high with Morris Brown coming back after a 20-year hiatus of their accreditation. We just wanted to come back and set the precedents for something that's going to be huge in the future. So, I mean, it was great for us to get together. And you have to remember, we had students from all over the United States, California. Mr. Lawson's in Houston. I'm here in Atlanta. So for us to have students from all over the country that could come together and form such a tight knit group, it was really, really important for us.
All right.
Also, to add to that, it was an opportunity to just to grow and to learn differently. Because you're talking 30, 35, 32 years ago.
Correct.
It was all traditional. It was in class learning. And to now to learn something this dynamic at our age and to not only learn it but to excel in it was, once you began to see that you were able to accomplish it, it motivated you to continue. And my wife and my children would always tell me, how proud they were and to keep going and keep going. And when you get weary and you have people that are pushing you, and then to have classmates that are doing the same thing, it was just phenomenal.
Okay. So what was that decision? What did the decision look like for you all deciding to go back to college to get your degrees? You know, after you guys have established your careers and businesses and things of that nature, what did the decision look like? And what kind of inspired you to go back to college?
So for me, it was several things. Uh, my grandmother passed last year, and she always said, "Baby, you told me you were going to go back to school and get that paper." she would always say that to me, baby, you told me you were going to go back and get your degree. And even though I have a successful restaurant here in Atlanta, uh, it was imperative for me, once she passed away, I could not let her down. And it wasn't just about letting her down. It was also, how can I talk about how important education is to my children? And I didn't finish college. So that was truly the determining factor for me, was to go back to school so that I can not only go back, but show them, hey, dad has a 3.9. Y'all have to step y'all game up. So it became almost like, I have a son at Georgia State. I have one in music college, and then I have a son in high school. And it almost became a game. Who was going to come out this semester with the highest GPA? And that meant all the difference in the world to me as well, to see them wanting to compete with their dad and be proud of their dad. That was the huge decision for me to go back to school. And plus, I always wanted to give back in the hospitality industry. And my ultimate goal is to become a professor in the hospitality program at Morris Brown. And I knew I had to start with my bachelor's and then move to my master's in order to make that come to fruition.
And for me, it was different. Uh, I started pastoring in Georgia. And so I was ordained in Georgia. And one of the things that I was grandfathered in, and one of the things that I made a promise to the bishop, that I would go and get my education. And after working for 20 plus years for the federal prison and retiring, a friend of mine called me about Morris Brown, and he took away all the excuses that I had. And he said, call this person. And I made the call. And after I made the call, I talked to my wife and I told her, I'm going back to school. I'm going to finish. And so she said, okay, whatever you want to do, if that's what you want to do. And so that was the big push for me. At that point, I knew that it was time. I knew that all of my reasonings or I don't have the money and my kids are grown now, and my children had gone to school. One went to and got a trade, and then the other finished college, and then one more has started and she's almost finished. So now. They say, well, okay, Dad, when you do it, you do it big. So it like Jordan was saying, it becomes something that as a family, they're looking at me now. My nieces and my cousins are looking now. And so it's if he can do it, then I can do it. And that was one of the things my sister said to my mother. She said that's what he should have did the first time he was in school. Now, but
my mom had said that the whole journey. She said, you could have finished this 30 years ago the same way, right?
But it wasn't it. It wasn't time then. This was when we look at everything that we have been able to accomplish. This was the moment. This was the pivotal moment to go back when you don't need to go back. When you don't, it's not, the pressure is not there to go back, and you go back and you're doing this because it makes a difference to you as the individual.
So how did you all balance being a student, and being family men and business owners and a reverend? How did you all balance those things while also being in school and also being active on campus?
Well, now for me, Jordan was more active on campus than I was, because again, I'm in Houston. So for me, I was terrified. And so let's be honest, okay? I was terrified going back to school.
Both were.
You know, we have a tendency to look at ourselves and say, you know, I'm smart enough to do this, but then when you go back, you have to prove it. So I was terrified. So because I was retired, I was doing you know, different things to. Of course, I'm still pastoring. I was pastoring then, so I was getting up 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, writing assignments, reading books, and looking at lectures. And then I would be up after I prepared some other stuff. I would be up 9 to about 11 o'clock that night, doing the same thing, making sure that I rewrote my notes and looked at my notes and did quite a few rewrites and typing on the computer because I wanted to make sure I retained the information. So it was early mornings and late nights.
And to piggyback on Mr. Lawson, he's absolutely right. Especially when you're a father, especially when you're a husband, because I don't care what you're doing, your wife still wants her time. So you know, we really had to juggle. And what I love more than anything, even though as Mr. Lawson stated, I was able to go on campus a lot more. What also helped was the camaraderie of classmates. It was nothing for me to be able to call Mr. Lawson at 7, 8, 9 in the morning. Then we're talking again at 10, 11, and 12, and he's never up that late. But he was up that late doing school time. So it was really great to meet people who you've never seen in person, and to be able to build that brotherhood and that sisterhood with people that you never met, but you were able to get to the same common goal together and say, hey, I wrote my paper like this, and this is what I said. What do you think about this? And no, Walter, change that introduction and put this. So when you had people who are all, one thing about our class, and Mr. Lawson, correct me if I'm wrong, 80% of us graduated with honors. 75% of us graduated with honors. So we were all adamant about having, like, all of us were, not only were we helping each other, but toward the end, we were all competing because we all wanted to be valedictorian or salutatorian. We all were competing to have that 3.96, 3.91, 3.87. There were 5 of us that were all in the running for valedictorian and salutatorian because that's how serious we took it.
So with you all being like, you know, traditional students, what was it like being in SGA and holding the spots of senior class president and senior class vice president? Myself, I served as Mr. Russ College, so I know the tedious hours that it takes to make sure that you keep your class together, keep them motivated, especially with the pandemic, especially trying to get graduation qualifications and trying to keep yourself motivated at the same time. So what was that like? What was that experience like for you all?
I'm going to let the valedictorian take that one.
Well, you know, we had so many conversations between him and I. So because our relationship became so intertwined, it made it a little easier because we were able to talk about what we needed to do, how we needed to do it, how we needed to approach some issues. And so we were able to bounce things off of one another and then say, okay, that sounds good, but we have to make sure that we be inclusive and not just demand and make all the decisions. So that was the term that we used to keep everybody motivated. And then, you know, Mr. Jordan would send emails. You know, we're almost to the finish line. Stay motivated. You can do it. And then later on, I would send one. So as you do that, you're pushing one another to make it to the finish line, because the closer we got, you know, with anything, it's like going on vacation. The closer you get, the more people aggravate you because you're looking forward to vacation. So that's the thing. We were looking forward to graduation. So it became, even the little things. So we just tried to make sure that we motivated each other and held each other accountable. And then we were able to motivate our classmates because, again, we were bouncing things off one another before we even took it to the class.
So what I would like to know is, with it being Morris Brown College, the 20-year hiatus, the struggles for the last 20 years, from going to a powerhouse to the struggles to now coming back on board and making history again. How important was it for you all to be a part of that history and to make sure that future generations continue the legacy?
Oh man, listen, we can't be.
Yeah, that was important because we both talked about that, and it was one of those things. We got to be in this class. We have to be in this graduating class.
Yeah.
We were going to the register and said, no. We can't wait till next year. We have to be in this class.
Yeah.
I'm saying, listen, I can be the first AME pastor to graduate from an AME school under full accreditation. No, I cannot wait I can't wait till next year.
Yeah.
I have to come. So you need to tell me what classes I need to take. If I have to increase my load, then I'm going to increase my load. I'm going to pay out of pocket. Whatever I got to do, I have to be a part of this class. That's what we both talked about.
And listen, he hit the nail on the head. We both were adamant. Whether we had to take 5 classes we were serious about being in this class. It was super important because this was a history making class for us. And it wasn't just about us. It was about what we could do down the line for Morris Brown. And the fact that we were getting ready to bring back something that think about this for a minute. No other university has lost their accreditation. Hello?
You're still here.
I'm sorry. Has lost their accreditation for 20 years and still came back from it. So, that slogan stuck with us, the hard reset. That's all we knew, the hard reset. And so then it became not only the hard reset, but then it became the restoration class. And that truly exemplified us restoring something. So it was huge for us to be in this restoration class.
So it speaks volumes to us as African Americans. Why? Because we have struggled for so many years, and we persevere. We refuse to be held down. And now Morris Brown is saying, listen, this is why, because we have the intelligence, we have the know-how, we can do what nobody else has been able to do.
So I noticed you all said that motto, the hard reset. Yeah. What is it like trying to use that motto to hold on for life? You've made it through the 4 years, but going on into graduate school, going on to continue your careers and things in life, how do you all plan to use that motto of the hard reset just in a daily life basis?
Well, I think for me, and I think for both of us, my salutatorian speech was simple: perseverance. One thing that I can honestly say, Dr. James has done an amazing job at Morris Brown, galvanizing the troops. He has everyone believing, not just in Morris Brown, but in themselves. So it's imperative that whatever you do, when you're a leader, it's not just being a leader that can tell people what to do, but when you're a leader and can make other leaders, that's a true definition of a leader. So I think Dr. James has done an amazing job galvanizing the troops, having a great person over the finances, because that was part of us getting our accreditation back, was having our finances in order, having the right person in place over each department, whether it was the business department, Dr. Odu, the math department, the music department, by having everyone in place truly exemplifies what a true leader is. And whether it is Mr. Lawson with his security business and me with my restaurant, the hard reset still goes forward. Even with us getting ready to start our master's program, the hard reset is still in our minds. We both still hear the hard reset daily in our daily lives. So it's been a huge inspiration for us to have that slogan. And even like I said, with the restoration class, you're restoring something that's been out of whack for 20 plus years. So when you restore something, it's important that you set the example for future generations.
Definitely. What about you, Reverend?
I echo what he said. The only thing that I would add is anytime you're starting over, it's hard. So, for us now, we're looking at this master's program. We recognize that it's going to be hard, but sometimes, when you let's say this, you may not always make an A on every assignment, and you have to reset and go forth and study to make that A on the next assignment. Because one assignment doesn't define you. So the mistakes made did not define Morris Brown.
I love it. I love it. So I noticed you all did mention that you all have your own personal businesses. So would you all talk about those and what was your careers and things of that nature look like before you entered Morris Brown College?
Go ahead, Walter.
Well, again, I'm a pastor, so of course, you got to shout out to church. I'm a pastor at Prim Chapel AME Church in Lamarck, Texas, about 15 minutes from Galveston. But I'm also I have my security company, so it's WL Security Consulting LLC, and I like to go into small businesses and churches to help them understand the importance of security, and that they can have a security system inside of a smaller church, inside of daycares, just looking at what people already have in place and help them to implement something, because we have things going on in the world where we need to be aware and ready and cognizant of what's going on. So that's what my business is geared toward at this point.
And for me, I have two businesses. I'm a restaurant consultant here in Atlanta. Most of the restaurants that open come through my firm, the DWRC Group. It's a full service hospitality firm where we obtain, that's why you see all these papers on the floor behind me. We obtain your liquor license, all your permits, your health inspections, your fire inspections, everything you need to open a restaurant. And then, of course, I have my own restaurant, Slush Restaurant and Bar, located at 327 Edgewood Avenue. And I'm known for my frozen drinks and my lamb chops and Cornish hens and Brussels sprouts. And so for me, this is an industry I've been in for almost 30 years since I left college. And so this is something that I'm passionate about, and I love what I do. And the biggest thing, like I said, is to be able to give back to Morris Brown. Last year, we were able to host a Kappa fundraiser at Slush to give back to Morris Brown. And we gave 10% of all sales back to Morris Brown. So we're always doing things in the community to give back.
I love it. Now I'm coming down there to Atlanta in a few weeks now. I'm going to have to hit you up.
Come on, let me know. We'll be ready for you. We'll be ready.
So on that note of giving back to your institutions, what does that look like for you all, being able to give back through your businesses, through now being able to be graduates and have the experience of going to college? In what ways do you all plan to give back to your institution?
Oh, that's we've already discussed that also. We've been discussing that. So we were able to give a scholarship upon graduation. But that scholarship is just the first of some other scholarships that we have already talked about doing and giving. So for us, it is going to be a yearly thing to give uh, at the least $1,000 scholarship to students every year. Again, um, when you know the struggle, you want to try to help out as much as you can. And so part of our helping out is giving back not just to the college, but also to the students of the college, to let them know that this is what you do. The reason so many other colleges are so strong because the alumni gives back. So we're making it a point to that Morris Brown will be the type of college where the alumni, not just the alumni of old, but the alumni that are coming out now, we are going to give back to Morris Brown, and you can count on it.
Absolutely. I concur. I absolutely concur.
Now, I know before this call we were talking about the challenge that Dr. James set forth to you all at commencement. So, would you all like to enlighten everybody on what that challenge was and how inspirational it was?
The challenge, again, the challenge was extremely inspirational, because we want to see Morris Brown succeed. We're looking forward to. I was just joking with my wife, and Mr. Jordan has been talking to his wife about the same thing, and we're saying, listen, the celebration for valedictorian and salutatorian will last for a year because it's just like a national championship. Someone else has to get it in order for us to relinquish.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Relinquish the title, and our wives, of course, are telling us it's over, and we keep telling them no until they have another graduating class. We have to carry this for a year. So, with that being said, we're recruiting people. I'm talking to, I'm talking to young people, older people. Hey, are you in school? Have you thought about Morris Brown? Look at Morris Brown. Talk to this person. Talk to that person. I talked to at least 3 people. Just the other day. So it's one of those things. I want them to go to Morris Brown. Here in Texas, you have so many colleges, but I'm recruiting for Morris Brown. That's who I'm recruiting for. It's just imperative. I went to a clothing shop and I was telling the guy he had Prairie View, he had all of the HBCUs, and he had the sororities and fraternities stuff. I said, hey, don't forget Morris Brown. Now you got to get some Morris Brown stuff in here. And he had a list of the HBCUs, and I said, yeah, Morris Brown right there. You got it right there. So you got to get some stuff in.
Yeah. And it's just imperative for us to build on the enrollment. One thing that I'm big on is, Dr. James. So fraternities and sororities are getting ready to hit the campus again. And then right after that, of course, we have a hotel that's getting ready to be built on campus. We're getting ready to renovate one of the oldest buildings on the campus as well. So we're heading in the right direction. And it's going to take all of us who's graduated from Morris Brown to continue the legacy. We can't give up. Dr. James can't do it by himself, even though he's doing a fantastic job. He's on the go every day, all day. And he's done such an amazing job at just getting all of us to jump on board and to believe in what he does. And the biggest thing that most of the alums really love about him is his transparency. He's telling you where every dime is going. He's telling you what we need to happen in order to get to the next level. So it just behooves all of us to leave Morris Brown and to continue to give back and to believe in the school and what's going to happen in the next year or so. I mean, our enrollment this coming fall, our enrollment is going to jump triple of where it was last year. So we're heading in the right direction, and that's why what Mr. Lawson said is so important is that we have to continue. Hey, if you know just one person, get them in school at Morris Brown, and they won't regret it. I promise you, they won't.
Yes, sir. So, what are some words of advice and motivation that you would give to other non-traditional students who are either in the process of finishing school or even just thinking about returning to school to get their degree? What are some words of advice and motivation that you all would have for them?
Well, two things that I would say to them is don't give up and you can do it. Don't give up and you can do it. So many of us, as Mr. Lawson stated earlier, I was terrified. I'm horrible, horrible. I had to go back and remember formats to write papers. I had to go back and remember just the basics of the keyboard. In my field, I have assistants that handle all that. So to be able to go back to school, it's all about, as I stated in my speech again, perseverance, and you can do it. And Mr. Lawson said something else. There's no excuse. There's no excuse. You can accomplish anything that you set your mind to. And I truly believe that. I will stand on that. You can do anything that you set your mind to. If both of us who are in our 50s with families, with businesses can do it, anybody that's watching this interview can do it.
And I'm going to say, I don't want to hear, I'm a grandparent. I have 3 grandchildren.
Yeah.
And they want their time. My wife wants her time. My sister, my mom, my aunt, they all want their time, my church members. But, the thing that I would have to say is it is not how you start, but it's how you finish.
Yes.
And you might have started off difficult and had some difficulties getting to the point that you're at now. But as long as you continue to move forward, you can do it. And the class sizes and the professors are there to not only assist you, but they're there to help you. And you're getting a great education. You're getting great instructions. And so it's time now to take the excuses and put them to the side. Look at the curriculum. Look at the cost of being able to go to Morris Brown and finish with a degree and be debt free.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And what does Dr. Allen always say? Morris Brown right now is the most affordable university in the state of Georgia. And I would almost put it up there in the country. Where can you go and get a full year of education for $8,500? There's no other college like it around. So I tell people it's the most affordable. I don't say cheap. It's the most affordable because the education you're getting, you can't put a number on it.
Well, you heard it here first, folks. Again, we want to thank these 2 distinguished gentlemen, Mr. Walter Jordan and Reverend Walter Lawson, 2023 graduates of Morris Brown College. I want to thank you all for just being here, giving me your time to interview you all, and just the jewels of knowledge that you all dropped today. Your stories are so inspirational to not only non-traditional students, but to all college students, all students in the Black community, especially where we are told that, hey, we may not make it out this neighborhood. Hey, you're not going to be this or that. Your stories are inspiration to those who feel like there is nothing else. Education is key and pertinent to success, people. So please get your education. Let these 2 gentlemen be an example of what Black excellence looks like and what educational success and wanting to get your education looks like. So thank you all again for being here on the show. Again, I am your host, Joshua Wright, here with your King's Minute, brought to you by Historically Black Sense. Have a good evening, everybody.